Welcome. Today we're going to do a small walkabout of the Citroen B14. Picked up the Citroen B14 and I've been taking the stuff that was loaded inside the car. I took a lot of parts with the car. I fitted back on the car to see what I'm missing, and it's not much. It's almost everything is there. The only thing is that it's not going to stay a B14 Citroen. It will not stay looking like that. It might be a shock to some of the viewers, because it does look really nice. It actually is not that nice. It's not a show car. It's not patina, because the paint has been done many times. It's cracking in places. But all that said, it's a very nice car for a 100 years old car. But I'm going to make it into my dream car, and that will take some time. But the plan is, and I will show some pictures of what my ideas are of what this car will become. So I will take it down to the frame, but don't worry, my plan is to keep or take all the pieces that I take off the car. I will preserve, I will put them away safe, that for any owner after me, he can always put the car back in its original state. This is my car. This is my view. That will start taking shape in the coming years. But hopefully before summer I will have the body off, and we will be we're getting some kind of idea what the car will look like. We'll do a little walk around of the car, and I will explain a little bit more. And the first thing is to get the car running again. I want to know in what condition the engine is. So those are my plans, and that's what will be happening in the coming months, and who knows how long. And at the same time, we will do some other projects like the Beetle, like the Mercedes. Focus for this little video, focus on the Citroen B14. So here are all the pieces that I took from the car that came with the car. Little pieces of metal, lids, and other screws and bolts. We have the windscreen is up here. We had the windscreen frame. That's all intact. The other door window is also in there. And that has a crack, by the way. Here we have the batteries, the two new batteries, 6 volts, that came with the car. I don't know where they should be placed. I think it's with just one, but the guy had bought 2 just to be sure. Give it a little bit more oomph. They're not filled. They have the acid delivered with or brought with the batteries, so they're not filled. So they should be okay. There to the right is the dynamo. That has to be checked. He said it was checked, but I want to check for myself. I want to open it up, see, look at the brushes. It's V-belt driven. It sits on front of the engine, but I have to see if it's really working correctly. So that one I will open right now. So what we have here is the dynamo. It says Sterling. I guess this might be something to do with the current. It has to be. I mean, I'm not that good at electricity, but I tried measuring it. These two are connected. So I put one probe on there, one probe on the housing. There's nothing coming out. It spins. Makes a noise going one way, no, like a funny scraping noise. Let's go check it out. I can see that there is a clip here which will tighten or loosen the cover. Oops, well, okay, well that's off in one go. And then we can look inside. We can look inside this, the rotor and the stator, and that already does not look good at all. You can see it, that spring is scraping into the rotor. It has damaged the rotor. Oh, wait a minute. And there's an actual loose brush here. Let me get it out. Okay. That's a brush. That shouldn't be loose like that. Okay, let's take it apart and see what we find. This does not look good. The fact that they're pretty loose. They're pretty loose means that this has been separated before. Okay. These are built to last. Very strong and heavy. Okay. There's a big bolt in there holding the oh, okay. Well, that came off really easily. Okay. Okay, here's the V. Yeah, what do you call this wheel? Anyway, driven by the V-belt. Okay. Now this seems to be two pieces. This is an aluminum top piece and it's a steel body. So I guess these have to come off. Or these have to come off as well. This is where the all your bearing is located. Oh, and look at this wonderful little oil nipple, little brass thing that you can open. I have to get this close. So there's a spring-loaded cap which will oil the bearing underneath. So let's take that off and see what's below. There we go. Okay. That's a nice big roller bearing inside. And this indeed is, you put the grease in, there's a little hole where it comes out and starts greasing the bearing. Not sure if we had to take that off, but for sure we have to take these 4 bolts off, so let's do that. Those are all 10, I believe. Oh, they're turning on the other side, so they must be. Yeah, there is a screw on the other side. Let's see. So I'm sure my arm has now been in front of that. I get the bolt out. There we go. So how do I do this? For you to see, we'll do it like this. Okay. The housing or the brushes. Knock the axle down, the rotor, I guess. I don't want to damage the oh, there we go. That did it. Okay. Oh my. Okay, there is some serious damage here. Yeah. Okay, I'll bring the camera in. That's all the way out. So there is a lot of meat on these, but there is a third one, and that's a thin one. That's this one, and that should be here. And for one, the connection screw is out of the housing. It should be in there. And there, the housing here, which houses the brush, is broken off. And I've checked the housing with the rotor, the stator, and it's not in there. And then we have this. I have the spring that pushes the third brush to the rotor. It's all been worn away. It's been probably the housing broke, and then the spring hit the rotor and kept scraping it away, making this horrible damage in there. So I hope it still will work, but I need to find some parts to put it back together. Okay, so that was the dynamo, the generator. It's broken. It's won't work as it is. I'll see what I can find on the internet in order to make to either repair it or find another one. They've made enough, and I'm sure that on the other models they probably use the same dynamo or generator for a number of hopefully decades, and they have a lot of them. So after some cleaning and polishing, the car actually looks a lot better. So going around the car first on the outside, we'll start with the front of the car. I found the headlights, I put those back on the car. I found the cover to the radiator, I replaced that. That seemed to have been nickel, and it's now back to brass. I don't know if that was taken off intentionally or put on intentionally. Anyway, it's gold color, brass looking now. So the front is a really nice feature of the car. It looks very much like a Model A Ford, but it's a lot narrower. It's about a foot more narrow than a Model A Ford is. So here we have the temperature gauge on the radiator. We have these lovely side lights placed on the fenders. They have a steel bracket with the red and clear glass, real glass, no plastics here. So I'd love to use those again on the future car. The wheels I found out they're from a Citroen C4, so not from this model. They should be more flat. So opening the doors, in the back we have suicide doors, front normal doors. There is a huge amount of space for the rear passengers, and the driver has a wonderful position as well. You're upright, everything is easily to be reached. We have these buttons, bakelite buttons with blue lettering. I do not know if that's original. And then we have the dashboard itself with its 4 gauges, and you could tell there's another, or you could say there's another gauge in the bottom, which tells you if there is oil flow. So I guess if there's oil pressure, you will see something moving there, and which will tell you that you have lubrication in the engine. So we have all the way on the left, we have the gas gauge. It tells you how much gas there is in the tank. Now that is a bit in a sorry state that the paint's peeling from the dial. I'll have to see if I can repair that. Clock is missing, it's in a box, and we have the speedometer and we have the amps telling you the car is charging. I do not know if all these buttons are original. They don't seem to be all original, although these bakelite ones do. I'll have to figure out which or what the function is on each of these buttons, but I'll probably rewire the car anyway. Now in the middle, of course, there is the handbrake, which functions, feels good. It's a cable connection to the wheel. To the wheels, we have the manual 3-speed gearbox. And then we go to the steering wheel, which is a combination of metal and bakelite. We have the little red horn button, and outside there is a turning knob which turns on the lights. So even then you had on the steering wheel, you had functions that you could switch on or off. So in one of the boxes there is this beautiful clock of the car itself. I have to figure out how it's set, because it doesn't seem to be working, but I think it's only the winding mechanism. Inside it looks pretty good, but I have to open this and see how to make this work again. So in going back to the front, there is this wonderful radiator cap which has some kind of I think it's filled with an alcohol which tells you the temperature. This is the front, but of course on the side, which you can see from the inside of the car, there is a more indicators that will tell you exactly if the car is overheating or not. I don't know exactly how to read this. I'll figure that one out, and I'd love to keep that for my the dream car. So under the hood there is this beautiful original horn, and supposedly the car has 2 horns, one for inside town, one for outside of town. Going from the enamel plate on the front to the doors and the door handles, they're all intact here nicely. I guess it's a bakelite with a metal combination. They work wonderful, and they feel really good to the touch. So there's the window winders, and they seem to have little, I think it's bakelite or wooden little spindles on the arms. All seem to be in original and good condition, but the rest of the car, there's a lot that has been done to it. So this wood frame has been it's been chipped, it's been painted, it's been worked on. It's not in the best of condition, and the red upholstery in the car is not original to the car at all. So looking at the upholstery or the seats, the 2 front seats are really nice and small, and they fit between the 2 frame rails. So I might, or my plan is now, is to take the fabric off and try to make them into little bucket seats, and then with real leather, but they need a lot of work, but at least make them use them again in the new car that I will try and make out of this car, the race car, that is. So I'd love to keep them and use them, reuse them in the new car. So the engine is a flathead, 1500 cc's, with supposedly 22 horsepower. Has a small little carburetor to one side, and the intake and the exhaust are opposite from each other. And I do like that, to have the exhaust be on one side so I can lead it out and get an exhaust going next to the car, to the back, and see if I can do something with two carburetors, and try and get a little bit more petrol into the engine. So here I'm just taking the plugs out, and I'm pouring some oil into the cylinders, because although it was moving the engine, I'd like to have a little bit of lubrication in the engine and have it spin around by hand to get it nice and greased all over, because the engine has not been moved for about 30 years, at least ran in 30 years. Apparently the former owner did move the crank shaft just to see if it wasn't gonna stick, and here I'm just moving it around. It goes very easily. I could see the valves moving. I do not know if all of them move, or if they're sticky. I will have to probably look. There's on the side, two plates on the side where you can take those off, and then you can see the valves, and check it that way if everything's moving. So I'll show you how easily this turns. Oh, how do I do that? Okay. Well, maybe we can even look inside. We can. So looking down at the spark plugs, yeah, I couldn't tell much of them. They look okay. They're a bit bigger than the normal spark plugs that I have in my other cars. They don't look very worn, but then again, the car hasn't run in a long time. So looking at these water connectors on the radiator, they're both in a very sorry state. They have been rotting away. I need to repair those, or check the radiator, I guess, and have that all repaired before I can use it on the engine. And the engine itself is not bad, because that's cast iron. So that's the place where the gas tank would have sat. It's out of the car. It looks okay, but it just needs remodeling. But for my special that I'd like to build, I would like the hood to be lower to the engine, and I probably will move the gas tank to the rear of the car. So that is the plan there. And the radiator, hopefully I can move it forward and then down in front of the cross member, or use another radiator that is just lower, and make the whole car lower in the front, about 15 centimeters. So then we're talking, was it 8 inches? No, 7 inches, something like that. So that's the car. So that's my the new project. But again, I'll do many projects at the same time. The Mercedes needs some work. The Opel Kadett is also not finished. And the Beetle definitely is not finished. So one more to the list. But I'm very happy with having had the chance to buy this car. And we will continue. And leave a remark, comments, I will reply. And hope to see you on the next episodes.